African American women make up just 2% of engineers. Roughly one-third of students of color express an interest in STEM. Most black women think that STEM is too challenging. We are sisters in STEM, and we are encouraging young black teens to join STEM.
If you're interested in more information, please contact Ina Montgomery at 816-866-6340.
Tycon Company, LLC, specializes in a wide range of construction services, which includes the removal and replacement of concrete curbs, sidewalk, driveway, and paving. They pride themselves in the quality of their service, but more importantly, with the quickness in which they provide those services. Their primary goal and objective is to achieve 100% customer satisfaction, and they won't settle for anything less. Their crews travel within a 100-mile radius of the Kansas City, Missouri metropolitan area, which includes cities on both sides of the Kansas and Missouri state line. Tycon Company, LLC, 4435 Prospect Avenue, Kansas City, Missouri 64130, 816-921-0473. Tycon Company, LLC, quality with quickness. Proud sponsor of Wake Up KC.
This is Quentin Lucas, speaking on behalf of KUAW, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom. Make sure that you gain that knowledge listening to this station and following us on Facebook Live. KUAW, making sure our community has a voice.
You are listening to The Lene Gray Show on KUAW, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom.
This is your host, Kay Brooklyn, and our wonderful co-host, Dre B. This is the Love Project Radio Show, where it's all love all the time.
We definitely want you to tune in to the Love Project Radio Show every first and third Sunday of the month. And also the show starts at 4 p.m. So please tune in. We discuss different topics from relationships, things that are going on in the world. Again, the Love Project Radio Show at 4 p.m. on every first and third Sunday.
We'll make you laugh, we'll make you cry, and most importantly, we'll make you love.
What's happening, everybody? Jazz trumpeter Tom Jamaica Funk Brown wishing all of my KUAW fans season's greetings and the warmest Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Can anybody hear me? Can you hear me? All right.
How about now? Can y'all hear me?
All right, what's going on, Kansas City? You now listening to What's Real Talk, KUAW. We are no longer here to LPFM, though. It's just KUAW Radio. You can call in the area code 816-599-6893, or you can go to the Facebook KUAW radio webpage, and you get a streamlined event. If you're watching this on my Facebook, you should see a screen recording over screen recording, trying something different so y'all can see what our Zoom listeners see. And if you would like to go to the Zoom link I will give you in just a minute so I don't waste your time. But we're going to get right into it. The Zoom link will be uso2web.zoom 860-7035-3652. And that would be the Zoom link for those that are trying to tune in and talk to us on Zoom. Round table, I see y'all going on. What's going on there?
What's going on, everybody?
Not much. How you feeling, Nigel?
Yeah.
Look like you rolling today, Charles. Are you headed down to the peace ride?
Yes, sir.
All right, yeah, we have a peace ride starting at with now 2 until 4. We'll be registering cars, and then pull off will be at 4. So this will be a twofold show. I'll be doing half of it in the studio, and then I'll be doing the other half at the peace ride, or at least chiming in at the peace ride so y'all can see some of the things that's going on. But I want to jump right into it, man, because like I said, we have a twofold show, and I definitely want to agitate people today. Black celebrities supporting the Trumpster. What y'all think, man?
Oh,
I'm gonna start off talking stuff today. What y'all think?
birds of a feather flock together.
Oh, that's what you say. Birds of a feather flock together. What about you, Mr. Nigel?
Hey.
I mean, for me, man, it's it's like I said about everything, man. It's about your why. Tell me the reason. Justify your position. I don't care what side you on. Tell me why. What is it that you believe in? What is it that you support? What is it that got your allegiance to these people?
Well, let's start there, Nigel. So I was watching the interview with Ice Cube and the TV host, reporter, and the reporter, I'm trying to think of his name, Roland. What's his name? Mark Roland, the black dude. Roland Martin. Excuse me. So I was watching an interview with him and Ice Cube, and he asked Ice Cube some of the questions that you just asked. Well, why would you sit down with him, and what's the point? And they not gonna do anything for Black America, and they haven't done anything for Black America. And he said they're only coming up with a plan, talking about economics and also that crime bill, so they can get about 20% of the black vote. And then he was like beating on Cube for this. And Cube asked a few simple questions I'm gonna ask you guys. He asked him, he's like, all right, so you said they doing all this to get the black male vote to come out. What's the Democrats doing? Yeah, you got anything?
To be honest, I don't have a problem with Ice Cube's position. I know that might be contrary to everybody else. I think that you should, as black people, if that's your priority is ensuring a black benefit and collective progress, then you should be talking to both sides and potentially empower and saying, hey, what do you do for me? How do you earn it? I don't just give blind allegiance to people. I don't believe in that.
No, I feel you. You bringing logic to it. Hey, T, turn them up just a little bit so I can hear them clearly. I feel you bringing logic to it, though. What about you, Charles?
I kind of feel the same way with Nigel. That's your prerogative. Like he said, just bring some logic to it. Show me the logic of why you're going this way, where I have a better understanding with it. With Lil Wayne, I have no idea there. Lil Wayne, I have no idea there. That's serious.
You think there's something in Lil Wayne's cup? Go ahead, Nigel. I see you jumping in.
I think it's kind of disrespectful to even put Lil Wayne and Ice Cube in the same. I'm sorry. Cube's done his homework. I mean, that brother, I'm going to listen to what he has to say. He's on that. Tell me where I don't have to agree with him necessarily, but I'm going to, at least he's going to have my ear. I'm going to listen to him. For me, I don't put them guys in the same category at all. And to the side note, I'm not mad at Cube for feeling like he didn't need to be on a Zoom call with 2 other people. I'm sorry. Look, I have a plan. I have scholars like Claude Anderson work with me and many other people that have been doing this for years. And a lot of people are trying to put Q's position in the light of, oh, we just threw this together in the last couple of weeks and he's doing this by himself. That's not the case at all. He has some of the biggest and best, brightest black minds in this country that have been working on this stuff for years. In the case of Dr. Anderson, for half a century on these types of things. So he has some of the greatest people on his team and supporting and pushing him. So you can't put him in the same category as a Lil Wayne. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm actually really glad that you said that. But again, I'm gonna play devil advocate on here as much as I can. So we have Brother Malcolm that talked about uh, the separation between leadership and entertainers. And I'm gonna kind of paraphrase as I'm pulling up the quote, and once I get the quote, I'm just gonna read it verbatim. But pretty much, he talked about uh, the establishment's motivation for using entertainers, singers, dancers, and actors to articulate black issues as opposed to the black educators, the black doctors, the black lawyers, the black think tanks. So, do y'all see some type of semblance? And I know you just separated Lil Wayne and Ice Cube, but do y'all see any type of difference between what Malcolm actually talked about when he talked about political puppets and how they actually utilize our entertainers as opposed to our academic leaders?
I don't look at Q as being that puppet. I can't see Q being a puppet. Lil Wayne, that's a possibility, but Q, like Nigel said, that brother put in some work, man. He brought a panel together with a lot of intellect, a lot of knowledge. I don't think that's applicable to Ice Cube.
All right.
I agree with Malcolm though, but they have the platform. I think it should be utilized in a positive manner. I can't totally agree with that one, Councilman, with Q.
Well, see, me personally, and I don't want to play the video because I haven't listened to it, so let me find the exact quote. Me personally, I'll fall in between this. I agree with Nigel's first assumption that in politics you should talk to both sides and leverage to actually get what you want. I agree with that 100%. No ifs, ands, or buts, and I don't actually believe in or support orthodox partisanship because I think orthodox partisanship for any so-called minority hasn't been beneficial. However, and this is funny, but it's not funny, man. It's actually kind of sad. When I first heard the Platinum Plan, I was sitting with my wife, and I actually made a joke. I could see how they came up with this. They were sitting in the room. They was like, you know what? Let's call it urban invest. Nah, we can't use urban. Urban's been used out. What about gold? Nah, the platinum. Platinum. They like platinum. And then when I found Cube was actually had a part in the Platinum Plan, I became just not with Cube negotiating or bringing ideals to the table, but I had that same gut feeling of being marginalized. Because I don't think you would come to any community other than the black community and say that we have a platinum plan for you, right? That's like saying we got the platinum and blue diamond plan only for you. So to me, it was extremely infuriating the fact that you would come with a platinum plan as opposed to calling it something intelligent and transferable like we do with everything else. You don't call urban agriculture gold carrots. Oh, reparations. I mean, if that's what we actually gonna get.
That's what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting to hear about that. Tell me something about that. That's what I want to see from whoever it is that's representing us. So that's the conversation that's not being had.
All right, well, let's talk about reparations a little bit because, like I said, I want to agitate, and we do have the presidential election coming up this Tuesday. So I encourage people to go out, vote for who you think is going to be the best person for this country, and then follow up after that. Stay engaged, pay attention, etc. But let's talk about reparations. So, in the typical conversation of reparations, you hear about the 40 acres and a mule and getting a flat guarantee of some type of payment or being made whole from the government. And in theory, it sounds good. In reality, reparations, if it's given, in my opinion, means there's still a semblance of control. And I'm going to refer back to Brother Malcolm because I'm on this Malcolm kick right now. Always on the Malcolm kick. But Malcolm had talked about, in the past, the necessity of controlling at least 20-something states. He was like, I don't want your money, I don't want your cash, I don't want none of that. I want states. Because when we talk about ownership and we talk about businesses and we talk about schools and we talk about governance, we never equate the struggle or overtly equate the struggle with lack of ownership. So going back to Cube and going back to President Trump and Biden, the thing that has been curious.
President,
No, go ahead.
President who?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
You said President who?
Oh, who does I said Trump and
44, 5. 4, 5.
You said you just giving them a number, just a flat number. I feel you on that, man, but I've been in politics for a minute. And like I've been telling people in these different venues and these different engagement tactics that I'm trying to do, I'm definitely trying to agitate the community. And it's well beyond time of being politically correct and politically comfortable. When I look at this whole presidential debate, in the abstract of the Platinum Plan, there has been no overt directives directed toward any so-called minority, whether that's black or Latino, right? When we talk about revamping the criminal justice system, revamping the educational system, or even coming up with new infrastructures to infuse cash in areas, that hasn't been part of the conversation. What it looks like is we're looking to choose the better of lesser evils, which is utterly ridiculous when politics is about community control. Right, that's the democratic process. You get a whole bunch of people that agree with you on whatever caveat it is, and then y'all put policies together, and then y'all try to make those policies law. And if those policies become law, then you have a community that's dictated and controlled by that community that created the policies and laws and the rules of engagement. And that's the reason why I started with Trump and Lil Wayne and Ice Cube, because I do agree with Nigel in the conversation that we've been having so far that it's a good thing to leverage both sides. I do have apprehensions though whenever I hear anything ethnically targeted that sounds weird. Like the Platinum Plan is racist to me. It sounds racist to me. Like that's like calling it the chicken and grits plan. I would not support that. And that's just me. Yeah, the watermelon plan, man. I would not support that. And again, you listen to KUAW, What's Real Talk. You can call in at area code 816-599-6893. If you watch this on my Facebook feed, transfer over to the KUAW. That way you have a much better integrated audio experience. I have my video equipment set up next to the TV, so I cannot read the questions if there are questions coming in, but you can always call us. And again, we'll be heading down to the Peace Ride here in a minute. Anything on this subject before I transition? With the reparations, Trump, Ice Cube, Lil Wayne, Weezy, 6ix9ine, who else came out? 50. I don't know.
You know, but his response was to the tax situation. I think people's voices got to be heard, man. I think that we do ourselves a disservice by trying to quiet our thinkers. I'm not saying 50 Cent's necessarily a great thinker. I don't know him that well. However, we have a lot of people whose voices are being silenced. And back in high school, I went through debate class, man. So I find value in listening to other sides, even when it's something I agree with. I mean, that's the way we learn. That's the way we grow. Things differently, you by definition is going to be able to see something around. So of course we hear one another, especially when we have a shared experience. So because they're going to see some things and be able to share some things with us that'll help us all collectively.
No, I actually agree. Charles, you got something you want to jump in on this?
I think you got on.
Oh, we lost his feed.
Can y'all hear me?
No, we can hear you. We lost your video. There you go.
Yeah, there I go. I couldn't. I was trying. I lost everything. I didn't even hear the question. I lost everything. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's cool. I'm gonna jump to this segue. And again, you listen to What's Real Talk, KUAW, area code 816-599-6893. If you're sitting at home, the Peace Ride is about to start at 4 p.m. So you can meet me at the Mohart Center off of Lindenwood Boulevard. And if you want to cruise around, show your car off, show your motorcycle off, show your bike off. And again, we're riding for peace. It's a collaboration of organizations that are coming together. Which brings me back to where we actually left off at. So we was talking about reparations and the void of ownership. Here in Kansas City, we've had 100 plus murders every year. So we actually own that stat. This year we had like 154, 155, and I apologize if I'm off on the numbers because the numbers consistently rise. But I said that to encourage people to be the changes they want to see in their city. But as far as violence, where you at with it?
Well, the violence, man. I don't know what's wrong with you. I wish I had the answer to the violence, Brandon. With the mindset of people not able to solve conflicts, man, without resorting to violence. Violence in our city is just it's out of control, and every year it's increasing. For the last 3 to 4 years, it continues to increase. We come up with all these study think tanks and everything about violence. Well, one thing we understand, employment is an issue. Housing is an issue. Mental health is a very, very big issue right now. And I don't hear nobody talk about no mental health. I don't hear nobody talking about no employment. I hear a bunch of think tanks coming together, spending some money that you could put into a program already that is existing. But violence, I wish I had the answer to it, bro. I'm seriously. I wish I had the answer.
And then we have a caller, so I'm going to jump back here in a minute. But I like what you just said. And when we talk about violence, you just hit it on the head with a lot of resources that are abstract. And my question, it goes back, and watch how I'm weaving this. It goes back to Trump, Ice Cube, Kanye, Lil Wayne, Lil Perp, and whoever else that came out. So we got the platinum plan on the deck. I don't chicken and grits plan. I'm gonna call it chicken and grits. We got the chicken and grits plan on the table. We have nobody over here with a plan on the table. And then, like you just stated, Mr. Johnson, we have all of these issues that we know prevent or at least starts to fix the issue. So if it's a mental issue, locking that brother up doesn't actually address that mental issue. It just isolates him until he's free again to do something stupid until somebody reacts to it. Then you can have a combination of a new criminal or somebody that had mental issues that does something that ultimately gets them taken off the streets when they could have had their mental situation evaluated, fixed, helped to settle. The same when we talk about employment, jobs, and ownership. So I'm gonna throw something out, and I'm gonna come right to you, Nigel. I asked the question about crime because again we're doing this in the twofold segment, but I wanted to get this in. So last week we had an ordinance in front of the council that will create an Office of Citizens Engagement. So what I'm trying to do with this Office of Citizens Engagement is dissolve Aim for Peace. So I'll take that 1.7 that they've been getting in that new increase of almost $3 million that they're looking at, and coordinate that into an office that streamlines all federal grants and that is charged with increasing our federal drawdown, meaning finding more programs that actually have service deliverables and increasing the type of service deliverables that people receive in the city. I think this is how we reduce crime, but again, that goes back to the marginalized communities, the black communities, the Latino communities, and the poor white communities no longer being brainwashed by partisanship, no longer being brainwashed by talking points, but actually looking at the hard reality, which brings us back to the conversation about reparations. We know this country was founded on immigrants or so-called immigrants. We know this country was founded on natives and the backs of slaves that came from Africa. And those free blacks that was here before they was called Africans or before they was called natives, the Aborigines. So we know that this land was created, taken from them. We know our economy came from workers and slaves, workers and indentured servants that did not receive the same wealth that landowners, white males was able to receive. We know all of this. Right. All of this. But what we don't take into account is the 14 million plus that black folks spend every Sunday at the church. What we don't take into account is the 1 trillion that we spend on clothes, jewelry, and things that make no sense in reality. So when I listen to the conversation about reparations, I think if we dialed down and we said ownership was critical and ownership is key, we wouldn't need anything from the government because we spend more collectively than any other culture that doesn't have anything that they reinvest in themselves. And that goes back to crime. So I think our crime situation is not unaddressable. I think it's only unaddressable because we allow identity politics to take hold and we don't call one or a spade when we see it. Like, dude, this is what you're doing, this is what you're not doing. If you agree with anything that I just said, man, contact the mayor, contact their council, and have them pass the Office of Citizens Engagement, which creates a natural funding stream and a natural institution that perpetuates community self-determination, which, in my opinion, is the greatest reparations that we can get, because we're no longer begging people to have a program, or we're no longer begging people to give us a house, or we're no longer begging people to make us financial solvent. In this caveat, it would only be related to crime and educational based program. But if we actually look at these models and we balloon those throughout the federal and the state government, I believe that our reparation call wouldn't be looked at as the same. It'd be looked at a little bit different. And I know we got a caller about reparations, then I got to go to the peace ride.
Still there, Saj?
Okay, we may have lost the caller. Again, I'm going to call back in. You're listening to What's Real Talk. The Peace Ride starts at 4 p.m. For those that want to get involved, we'll be at the Multi-Purpose Center. And it's important that we do things for observation. And that's what the Peace Ride is a observable movement of a whole bunch of organizations that don't have the same mission, don't have the same board, that comes together to support. And if we can start showing cross support, not only coming out in observable things, but coming out in programmatic support, I believe we can actually have a holistic community. But I do want to get into reparations and the heart of reparations, and also the platinum plan, but I have to go to the peace ride. Okay.
We're going to take that last call. We're going to take that last call.
Well, y'all can. I got to step out the studio, so they're going to leave y'all on the air, and I'm going to go ahead and step out, right? Okay, and again, the area code here is 816-599-6893.
Go ahead. Go ahead, caller.
Hello?
Go ahead, caller.
Hello, caller. Can you hear us?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead, we can hear you.
I can't hear anything.
You don't hear us?
I hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead with your question.
Okay, now I can hear you. I didn't hear you before, because that's why I guess I was disconnected earlier, because I really couldn't hear. It was real choppy. I just wanted to make, a couple of comments about reparations. Like I said, I wasn't able to hear everything Councilman Ellington was saying about it. But what I want to say is, it seems that we continue to make, in my opinion, a mountain out of a molehill. And when we talk about reparations, they want to make everything so complex that nobody seems to want to understand what is simple to understand. And what I mean by that is, reparations is repairing. Okay, repairing the people, restoring the people, this kind of thing. And to keep it simple, we know that we were brought here against our will. We know we worked for so many hundreds of years, and still today, I would say, without getting paid. Okay? And what needs to be done is that time that everybody knows how to do all of this data research and everything, all of that time that we worked without getting paid, and that's not punitive damages for all the terrorism that we had to experience while we weren't getting paid, can be calculated by those years, and of course that's going to be a phenomenal amount. Well, once that takes place, then we determine how we give those increments and how we establish those things through getting land through it and those types of things. But it just seems to me that everybody gets blown all out of proportion instead of focusing on what can, from data and numbers, be calculated, and once it's
I don't have it. It's back here. I know, but it's back here.
Or vacation, if you don't know how much you gotta get money paid for. So you find out what the number is for real.
I think it's in the back.
And then we do the plan, and I congratulate Ice Cube and these people that get their heads thinking and said, well, here is something we're going to start somewhere in this conversation. So that's what I wanted to say about reparations, okay? This is just down to brass tacks, find how much you really owe us, and then put a plan together of how we want it given to us. We got to stop saying, you got to give us, you got to give. We got to show them what they owe and show them how we want to receive it. How about that?
Thank you so much, Colin. We definitely appreciate it. And I agree with you. Like you said, these people in position, they get paid to solve complicated problems, and they do it every day. And this is one more that we should expect them to put the proper attention to so that they can address it. So I totally agree with you. Right. Charles, can you tell us a little more about the peace ride? Where it's at? You know much about where the route is, where people can join in. Can you tell us a little more?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? It's at 32nd and Wayne at the Mohawk Center. It begins at 4 o'clock. We advise everyone to get here a little early so you can sign up. There's a little document that you have to sign. They have a few informational trucks here that's in the parking lot at this time. I just arrived. I just got here. So we encourage you now, anybody in the city with a mobile, any vehicle, motorcycle, whatever, come on out, join the peace ride. It shows a lot of unity, man, that we can come together, man, in a peaceful manner and address issues that are affecting our community, specifically the violence in our community. So if you're not doing anything, the Chiefs done already won. Come on out, enjoy. Meet someone that you haven't met before. Come on out. 32nd and Wayne, the Mohawk Center.
All right. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Okay. So do we have some other topics that we want to discuss today? Go ahead.
I don't know if they do or not. I was going to try and give Ellington time to get on the scene. He's headed that way, but I don't know if we can have anything to talk about from that. Do you have anything else, Nigel, that you wanted to bring up?
Okay. We talked earlier. Ellington brought up the point about violence. Obviously, that's an ongoing issue that affects us all. And some of the things that are near and dear to me, I met with a lady that specializes in trauma education for the community. She meets with employers and small groups and different types of people. Over the past couple of years, I've met with several counselors, and we have a lot of undiagnosed mental issues in our community. A lot of trauma that we've experienced earlier on. These things fester. Some of the other, what I believe is root causes, we don't encourage a lot of communication in the community as far as our males being able to express emotion in the proper way. We look down upon them, if they're weak, if they're experiencing certain things, or that they're less of a man or something like that, and we all experience emotion. We all do different. And I think that none of us should have to feel like we're alone, that we have no one to talk to, that no one cares about what we go through. Because what happens to you affects me. What happens to me affects you. We're all when we're in the same community. And we have to encourage and embrace that kind of communication. We have to create safe places. Of course, we got to create those places for our women, for our children. But the men also have to have those same places where they can talk to people and let them know that, hey, there's a way. There's a solution, and there's an opportunity for things to become better. And we have to be there to support one another to make those types of things happen.
All right. Looks like we got Ellington coming in now, so he may be joining us back on this. Yeah, Ellington's. I see him trying to get in on the Zoom, so we should get his picture back on here in just a minute, as soon as he turns his camera on.
Yeah, I think we were going to do the second part of the show from here. Yeah, I think that's what the plan was.
Yes.
But I totally agree with you, Nigel, as far as the males. Males, we feel that we don't have someone to talk to sometimes, and we keep that balled up in us. And that perpetrates that, that violence a little bit more. But we don't have nobody. We feel, that masculinity there, it's not cool to cry. It's not cool to whine about this. It's not cool to that. We're human. You should have a brother, man, that you're able to go vent to, that gives you positive feedback and correct you when you're wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what friends are for. Correct you. Hey, you was wrong on that, bro. You should have been done like this. We don't do that as males, especially in our culture. We don't. So I totally agree with you on that component there.
I'm back in. What subject was y'all just on?
We were just kind of, adding on to what you touched on before you left, as far as the violence in the community. Some of the root causes of, as far as providing support systems for our males, helping encourage them to be open and be able to communicate and not feel belittled or hurt because they are emotional or in an emotional place. So that way that energy doesn't have to bottle up inside of them and then, explode in ways that we don't want here in the community. So we definitely have to provide those safe places for communication and for them to bend and for them to be able to grow and have healthy lives too, just like everybody else.
Now, would that be a part or issue related to not getting reparations, though?
We're talking about
of that physical, emotional support mechanism that comes from the community that you were just talking about.
Absolutely. I mean, to me, it goes way back, and that trauma gets. I sit here and the more I think about it, the more I realize how my upbringing was influenced by my grandparents, my great-grandparents, my great-great-grandparents, what they've been through. I sit and talk to my grandfather now, and he still talks about how, Emmett Till impacted him growing up, for example. And how it affects his changes and his interactions to this day. So, of course, that was passed down to my parents and passed down to me. A lot of times we can't even, we don't even realize the impact that those past events have on us to this day. That's what those counselors and those trauma experts, that's what they've shared with me. And that hurt, that pain, that's what needs to be repaired. When we talk about reparations, the caller said it best. We're talking about repairing damage that's occurred. And you can't just neglect it and think it's going to heal. Not correctly, and it's never going to put you back where you were. So you absolutely correct with these triggers and this stimulus and things that's occurring in the community that does tie all together. It does tie to this conversation.
Well, my question would be, why haven't we started? And let me be clear, I don't have a problem with reparations. If I'm going to pass that check. Don't get me wrong. When we talk about being made whole by the harmful acts that happen in the government, yeah, that would be nice to be made whole. But I also grew up in an area in which if you didn't provide food for yourself, wasn't nobody gonna provide food for you. So the issues are related to community breakdown, emotional issues, trauma, outside of those that have been hurt. How can I go to another entity and get help? So if psychoanalyzation is needed, shouldn't we start psychoanalyzing ourselves in the same with ownership? And again, don't get me wrong. I do believe that wrong is made right. But I also believe that we have our own destiny to control. And by creating the issues that we face outside of us is an issue. I'm going to turn this phone around real quick if I can. This right here. All right, well, let me do it. I just do it like I did. This right here.
Yeah, you did.
middle of the city, apartment complex, middle of the city. Now we have issues when it comes to traditional lenders and banks. So when I listen to not what the caller say, do something the trauma that when I look at stuff like this, if we was to get $50 million, where does the $50 million go? They're going to my couch cushions, or they're going to the bank, going to make more off $50 million that I get than I would, right? So, right in the city, all I'm saying is that we can control our own destiny by investing in ourselves. You get 3 or 4 friends, and you take the sixplex, and you have a multi-$100,000 property that you make it back on. And that's how you stop the case. If I do agree to being made whole would be right, let me make sure that's so anybody that's in the reparations fight. My only wish is that we went after it in a strategic way. And I use an example. Johnson and Johnson made a lot of money off of slavery. Well, we can directly tie that into whatever we want to sue and get paid off of. The same we talk about treaties and guarantees that have been broken. Yes, all of those should be made whole. But we can't wait for a platinum plan, a chicken and grits plan, or a savior on a horse that has never done anything for the community. That's where I'm at with it. And I'm saying that we got to put in work. The 100+ murders is not going to stop until we actually make it a fact that you can't kill people in our communities and stay in our communities. You just can't do it. But where you at? Where you at with it?
Hey, I agree. Like you said, I mean, we have work to do on the inside, within ourselves and amongst ourselves. But that doesn't resolve the people outside of us from their role in the condition that we find ourselves in. I mean, they have a part to play. We have a part to play. And when we're talking about investing in our communities, I'm all about that. You speak my language.
But now, like I said, I'm agitating. I'm just glad you said that it's a part to play both internally and externally. So if it's a part to play externally, bringing us back to Trump, Q, Lil Wayne, and Burp, and all these other cats, what's the issue? Why aren't we being more forcefully leveraging when it comes to our votes? Why are we allowing people to say we'll talk to you after the election and they get mad at somebody that says, well, I'm going to talk to the person that, he supports racists, but at least he's talking to me now, as opposed to the person that said they don't, but he don't want to talk to me until after he get what I can give him.
I mean, hey, you hit the nail on the head. It's like it's like we're mad at the whistleblower saying, "Hey, wait a minute, we giving these people the votes and they haven't promised us nothing." Well, we'll get back to you later. We got important people to deal with right now. And the other one said, "Listen to you, but
we've been talking about reparations for a while, and we've been talking about reparations for a while. Ain't got it from one person yet. Not on either side, blue or red." Now, there has been some states that have done some cool things in relation to reparations that I've been looking at. That goes more to land ownership as opposed to the local government being able to give them. So let me show you something real quick, though. So we found this close to Peace Ride. This was going on. If it's too loud, just wave your hand. I'll mute myself. How you doing? I'm on the radio. Not much. Genius, what's going on, brother? Come on camera. What is that, a bang mask you have on? What is going on? What's going on? I say something, got you ready for Hey, tell them what you do too, because Melanated, they do some real cool things.
I'm gonna walk down here just because of the time. All right, they ready for me? All right, so I'm about to get to say. I was going to do. They ready? Look. Like a few points today. First, I'd like to say, I want to thank all those that showed up for the Two Pride.
Okay, we kind of get a little background noise. Having a hard time here.
Good thing we do observable things. We actually put the proper little hard. I have a which is create an office engagement. When we talk about service and delivery is void between criminal activity and law enforcement. Law enforcement can't bring things to a process, right? And we already have the issue with mass incarceration, institutional violence, and all that stuff. So what I'm asking is to help me create more service delivery, more STEM programs, more finance programs, more educational programs, more social services. Because Wilson Bird, just for example, teaches people how to learn themselves. Teaches us how to get financial situation that we find ourselves. Academia curriculum teaches us how to deal with conflict resolution and all types of stuff. But the community, if we can come together like this, you get a couple hundred cars out here, we can drive down the street, we can still do it. And we need to go that step further and make sure that we solidify things up under the color of law. That will guarantee institutional breakages and access. And again, 157 murders is not something that happens in the woods.